Directors meeting, and we'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You totally messed it up. Because you've been doing it since kindergarten.
Thinking about something on the Zoom.
Would you please take roll call?
Yes. Division 1.
Here.
Division 2.
Here.
Division 3.
Here.
Division 4.
Here.
Division 5.
Here.
So we'll start with public comment for items not on the agenda. Does anyone have any items? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Move to accept the consent agenda unless there's any.
I'll second that.
Public comment for the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a vote.
Division 1.
Yes?
Division 2.
Yay. Yay.
Division 4.
Aye.
Division 5.
Yes.
Division 3.
Aye. Okay, general orders. We turn it over to you, Jennifer?
Sure. The item before the board for consideration this morning is related to the purchase of a replacement 3/4-ton utility truck. The reason why it is on general orders is because it also has an associated budget amendment. So as the board is aware, there are new air quality regulation rules that come into effect for equipment purchases in 2024. So all new equipment purchased in 2024 that meets certain criteria has to be electric vehicles. There is still not sufficient technology available for some of the equipment, as well as we're not quite yet set up for charging. So we are proposing to accelerate the replacement of one of the heavy-duty trucks. This, although it is a budget amendment because it is creating essentially a new capital project in the capital program, because the truck will be capitalized, there's no impact to the unassigned fund balance, because we are also proposing to reduce the amount of money that was appropriated for water purchases in Fund 10. So we'll be reducing Fund 10 by $50,000, creating a new capital project to purchase the truck, so it'll wash itself out. With that, Chip can answer any questions.
I'm just going to compliment whoever the purchaser is on that price. That's a hell of a price.
Yeah, so we got a real good deal on this because it's a 2022, and it's Buick Ford down in Marysville, and so it's a discount of about $8,400. So if we can jump on it, awesome.
Yeah. And smart move on loading up now on some of these vehicles, because they're going to get more expensive and hard to find.
I think more importantly, the change in regulation forcing us to a zero-emission vehicle is fine, but we don't have the infrastructure to charge them yet.
California doesn't have the infrastructure to charge them, nor does the backcountry.
Yeah, we will, on that note, we will be proposing in the 2024 capital budget to do a project here as well as at the hydropower office to install charging stations. But it's one of those things that's always easier said than done. It does require some improvements to the off-site grid as well.
Can you educate me here? 2024 and beyond, if you buy a half-ton or a 1-ton, it needs to be electric?
I can add to that. So, yeah, they're very limited. They do exist, but it's limited. So the regulation goes into effect January 1st, 2024, and it says any 3/4 ton or heavier fleet vehicle, 50% of your purchases need to be a zero-emission vehicle. And then it slowly filters every year. You get them higher and higher.
3/4 ton and above,
Yeah.
not half-ton. So
Not-
half-tons you can buy in the electric.
I'd have to double check on that, but basically any government fleet vehicle, it's 50% starting in 2024.
I haven't seen a 3/4 ton electric.
Yes.
I haven't either.
So when you say 50% of fleet vehicles, so if we bought 50% of our, you know, whatever, the runaround vehicles and this, that, and the other thing,
Trucks, yeah, light duty trucks.
you know, the light duty things and the SUVs and whatever it is else we have, if we had, you know, about all of those electric, then we would be permitted to buy the, is it a combined total?
As I read the regulation, it was very specific to heavy fleet vehicles. So that's why I came up with the 3/4 ton and above, is because they were targeting dump trucks, big rig haulers.
Dump truck.
There are a few Teslas running around, but there is not many available right now.
Huh,
It's weird, the regulation's almost ahead of the industry.
yeah.
One of the things that we are planning on doing is, Steve Prosser will come and provide a presentation on our fleet and how these new rules impact us. It's one of those things that it's a little premature for where the infrastructure currently is at, but.
Yeah, the concerning thing is you're paying $50,000 for a 3/4 ton. If you went and bought a 1/2 ton Lightning today, they're $8,000.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, this is, like, when we look at 80 for an F-150 Lightning. So, when we look at the budget at the end of this year, we better, you know, when we're buying those trucks, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know, I had no idea.
Is there sunset then on the existing vehicles?
This is a part of, the regulation specifies if it's a replacement vehicle. Yeah.
CARB already has sunsets on different diesel-producing vehicles.
Yeah.
It's coming, and I think Steve's conversation, they had a
We already have to manage our fleet in that manner. That's why we focus a lot when we do replacements of especially the off-road vehicles, because we have to keep certain thresholds for carbon emissions.
Okay.
I would like to see a press release saying that basing and how much it's gonna cost us and then our clients, our customers. There's a nexus.
That's an interesting idea.
It is, I mean, it goes right back to rates, as soon as there's.
Exactly.
Right back to rates,
Back to rates.
not the boogeyman
Not the boogeyman.
in this case.
So an anticipated question that I might hear, unless I totally misunderstood what you said, is instead of spending $50,000 on additional water purchase, we're buying this truck.
So every year we started this 2 years ago. So through our coordinated operating agreement with PG&E, we have the ability under contract to purchase up to 56,000 acre feet from PG&E.
Yeah.
We have been, as a matter of practice, so that we're not caught short money-wise, we fully fund a potential purchase in the annual operating budget. This year, because of how wet the year was, we are not needing to purchase that water, but the amount budgeted is, what, $750,000?
800, yeah.
$800,000. So we do not anticipate needing that $50,000 for water
This is just
purchase.
a piece of that $7.
Yeah.
I see it. Okay. I'm good with it. Nice price.
Yeah, good deal.
And years ago, we had a reserve fund in case we fell short, like during a drought, and we burned through that in 2013, 1 year.
Yeah.
And 2014 came and there was no reserve fund. So this is a much smarter way of doing it, is that we'll purchase water from PG&E to fill any short
Yeah, I like that.
sales.
Okay, so with that, staff is requesting adoption of Resolution 2023-29, approving the following amendment to the 2023 annual budget as follows. Amend the 2023 annual budget to reduce the Water Fund 10 operations water budget purchase budget by $50,600. Amend the 2023 annual budget to increase appropriations in Fund 15 by $50,600 to create a new capital project to purchase a Ford F-250 4x4 truck. Authorize the general manager to execute the appropriate documents for the purchase of the 2022 Ford F-250 truck from Gewicky Ford in the amount of $50,597.33.
I'll second.
Any public comments? Division 1,
Yes.
Division 2,
Yes.
Division 4,
Aye.
Division 5,
Yes.
Division 3. Aye.
Thank you.
Chip?
introduce our workshop?
I will introduce Craig, who will introduce this item. It's a proposed modification to a job classification, that is for, the purpose of the item is to receive input from the board, so.
Yeah, so thank you, board. This item before you is to adjust the safety analyst position from safety analyst only to a safety analyst 1-2. We haven't adjusted the safety analyst position since its inception, and the safety department at NID was really founded in 2010. It was really when we really put safety on a budgetary process. We've always had safety programs sort of intrinsic into the district over the years, but in 2010 was when we really solidified a department in order with its own budget and its own set of responsibilities and duties. Primarily, a lot of the training, individual training that our safety department does, particularly the safety analyst does a whole suite of different training activities with our staff in order to keep them up to date, everything from forklift to fire extinguishers to fall protection and confined space. And so a whole suite of different activities. Over the years, we've built the safety department to add one other additional staff. So we have 2 full-time equivalent staff members in the safety department. The other staff member is a safety technician, 1-2 position. So in looking at the duties, responsibilities of the then written safety analyst position from 2010, sort of that envisionary description of what that position could be, what it might be doing. I think over the years, it has morphed into more of an advanced stage of assessment analysis, a little bit more in line with some of our other analyst positions here at the district, which sort of gives it that growth opportunity of a 1-2 step, advancement in career, in identification of skills and development of capabilities and capacities within our own staff. So it was, I think, high time that this review and analysis for this particular position. There is currently a 1 FTE in the safety analyst position. That's Don Bird. I'm sure you've seen him around. So it's anticipated that there will be a reclassification of his position into the safety analyst 2 at the given step that we'll assess, and that was sort of based into this analysis of the budget analysis. So I do anticipate a slight increase in the budget that has been approved for 2023. We're in 2023, but towards the end of the year, and so that's what the analysis here in the budget process or the budget section is trying to explain. We do have enough funds to cover it in terms of just a transfer of funds from Fund 70 or Fund 70 activity.
So you're not adding an FTE?
We're not adding an FTE.
Okay, that's.
No, we're not adding an FTE. We're only gonna be reclassifying the existing FTE to reflect the safety analyst 1-2 position, should it be adopted. Today is just a discussion, questions on the description if you have any, and then the idea is that next board meeting will bring as a, if it seems appropriate to the board, we'll bring as a consent item.
So generally, just adhering to what's already is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's consistent. Most classifications have a family, which is, so it'd be 1-2 senior.
Yeah.
There are a handful that don't, and it does create some equity issues between the classifications, as well as could have some retention issues because there is no growth opportunity within those.
Can I summarize what I think I heard? So the safety group has a safety analyst position and a safety technician. And you're asking to change the analyst position to analyst 1/2.
Yes.
Give you some flexibility.
Exactly right.
Could you describe, I've been confused about this word analyst since you've been adding these ongoing analyst positions. The difference, what is the difference, the key difference between a technician and an analyst?
There certainly is. In this, so they're a little different with each department.
Okay.
And I think that's where it can get confusing within our existing structure of and I don't know if Naomi has information on that, but the existing structure is we try to keep different departments with similar nomenclature. It's been sort of challenging over the number of years to think, okay, what is an analyst? I think we had that analyst in the ops department just the other day versus an analyst in safety. There is a more, the analyst in the ops department and the safety department is really tasked with helping to build that very structure of safety precautions, OSHA regulations, general workplace safety environment reviews of all of our facilities, ensuring that we have adequate, fencing and railings, et cetera, on different places. And so they're more tasked with ongoing district-wide review of safety facilities and ensuring that we identify safety measures that would maybe have a violation effect of OSHA or something along those matters. They also help in certain workers' compensation reviews. So if we have a slips and falls or sting bites or back problems, that individual is really working with the departments in trying to mitigate those moving forward. So they're moving forward. The technician is in assistance to all of that. And so it creates this family that there is growth opportunity within there.
They both report to someone else?
They both report the assistant general manager. Keeping names out of it. Yeah.
Consolidated Fire called us and wanted help with training for the trenches.
Yeah.
How's that
Shoring.
working out?
Great. We had a meeting with their new chief just 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was a great meeting. We had a bunch of NID staff here, and the chief was here, so we kind of kangaroo courted him. But it was great. We had a nice long meeting, and yeah, they really want to just reach out and recreate longstanding organizational relationships between fire and NID. Reestablish. He's new as the chief of.
And he's very good.
And he's great.
Respected already.
Yeah, he's great. So we had a great communication and a great discussion. And yes, we talked to him about our safety training opportunities that we do here. Some of the things that they want and do are outside of our scale and scope. But when we do have trenching and we do have confined space training, we've committed to reaching out to them as well as trying to coordinate as best we can.
So a couple questions. One is you've got the union is unrepresented, so this position then is not in the union?
Correct.
Correct.
And that is because it's considered in the admin or managerial type position?
Yeah, the line doesn't exactly fall between administrative or managerial. Those types of classifications do tend to be unrepresented. A lot of times that has to do with needing a little bit of balance and separation with, for example, OSHA violations, workers' comp type issues.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And then my second question is, when assigning, this additional budget amount, is that in parity or on par with any kind of salary study? In other words, are we paying what others are paying for the same type of work or close to it?
Yeah, there was a bit of an analysis there, for sure. It's also in line sort of with our own individual. We have the analyst position currently, and the idea here was not to do a full-scale salary analysis and adjust the safety analyst one into some different space. But there was a series of reviews of different organizations, PCWA, EID, ECWA, their ongoing safety-specific classifications, and some of them range from Director of Safety Operations and Systems to safety managers they have different titles and names, and so you kind of got to dig into the responsibility and skill level and the experience, education requirements. So some of that was analyzed and looked at.
Okay, okay.
But it primarily fell in line with the baseline of our existing classification code, and the job, where it is, wasn't intended to be moved on any needle at all. So the safety analyst 2 sort of fell in line with that 5% differential between different steps that we consistently have with all other analyst positions.
Thank you. And then one last question, if there were, the person who's currently filling this were to leave or move up into a different job, and we were to recruit internally or outside, is there outside training that we provide for people in this safety area? I mean, I can imagine people don't walk in off the street and go, I'm a safety officer.
Yeah, there are different associations and societies essentially that provide National Association of Health Safety Officers, for instance. And they provide certain certifications. You know, some of them are 4-week classes. Typically, you know, some can be online, some are go to Sacramento to this organization, and there's a conference on this particular day. And
A lot of safety trainings required on a specific frequency by OSHA, and those trainings are required to be provided by a certified individual. In the event we don't have a certified individual, that's when we'll hire an outside consultant to provide the training.
I see.
So there is a lot of opportunity.
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
there's some certifications that are embedded within the new update to the analyst position, as you can see. And so we've asked, you know, within 12 months of hire, these are the certifications that you're gonna need to have in order to perform the duties that we want, because they're not, this position, there are plenty of other trainings that we're hiring out for consultants. Asbestos pipe training, for instance, is something that we hire, and we make sure that's a 4-hour-long commitment to staff members who are working on pipes. It's mostly our maintenance facility folks, but that's a training that we hire and consult out for, that this position doesn't do. But this position has been, we've found it to be very cost-effective to the district to have in-house training for forklift, confined space, fall protection, some of those that can cost, you know, up to, you know, $1,000, $500 per employee, and we're training 40 people,
That's
right? So,
all right, thank you.
That's well worth it.
Excuse me. I have a couple questions. And just an observation that I really appreciate the fact that you're, you know, I know you have the 1, 2, and 3 levels in different classifications. And I think that's a great way to create structure for investment within an organization. One observation I have as in my HR role historically is that for employees, it's sometimes hard to differentiate between different steps. I mean, different levels, level 1, level 2, level 3 in a job series. And it's because we combine into a single job description, well, 1, 2 as an example, the only differentiating characteristics comes in that section where you have distinguishing characteristics, right? Because you've got the same essential functions and knowledge qualifications for both level 1 and 2. So that can create a issue with employees saying, well, I'm really a 2.
sure.
And management is saying, well, actually, you're a 1. And so I wondered if under distinguishing characteristics, we have under safety analyst 1, this is a mid-level classification. I didn't know what those words mid-level meant and how that differentiates from level 2, which says it's an experienced level classification. And I wondered if there might be some other words that might be more descriptive of what that means.
Definitely.
Yeah,
That is a good comment.
that's a really good point.
And then,
yeah.
Greg, you had mentioned in your comments about the difference between a 1 and a 2, and you said level 2 requires higher level analysis. And I think that's something that you can, again, anchor expectations around, because that is a difference. You get complex projects, so I just think, you use some descriptions when you were talking about both of those positions. And I think if you could detail that out a little bit more, you create better understanding between staff and management doing that job.
Okay.
Those are good comments.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll work on some revised language when we bring it back. I think it's a very good comment.
I'll just reiterate that, with the comment on the mid and experience level, that sort of definition, I agree with you, it's nebulous, it doesn't really make much sense to me specifically. Tried to soften it with the experience level by breaking those apart. One says 4 years experience involving safety programs, and then the other, 3 or more as analyst one, so it's sort of that compounding experience.
Yeah.
So the assessment or the thought there was kind of mid, you've had experience doing these activities for at least 4 years, and then experience, you've had at least, 7 years now doing that experience. But I get your point, and we'll totally take a look at it.
But that's a good observation to make,
Sure.
that you are differentiating it there as well.
Sure.
I just have had so many occasions where it's just a conflict of misunderstanding, and management ultimately makes a determination, but it can be really disheartening for staff who don't understand the distinction.
Okay.
And the other thing I wondered, in this whole area, I think the district really has a safety program to be very proud of. And I wondered if we could have a presentation at some point in the future on our safety trends and
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
kind of work comp history, that kind of thing.
Yep. Run,
Yeah.
Accidents per
run losses.
Yeah,
hours worked.
we'd be happy to show off the program.
Yeah, because I.
Rich would like a press release.
Well,
Is that how awesome we are?
I think that I would, because, we don't tell people what we're doing, who knows?
Didn't you some years ago do a safety presentation that talked about how many, and Chris, I think you and I were there, and others maybe weren't. It was really impressive, the record of safety and the
Yeah,
few accidents and.
yeah, and it, it goes up and down every year.
Sure, the level of
Different
response cases versus what is normal in those functions, and, you did a really nice presentation, as I recall.
We can definitely bring that back
For sure.
soon.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
We're happy to.
well, and it brings to mind the working conditions that the staff were under this winter, spring. And,
Yep.
the stress and the very difficult conditions. So I think that context is really,
There's some good social media on that. Somebody wrote a nice piece.
On our social media?
Yeah, about
Yeah.
what the teams have undergone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our staff is, and it's not just about this winter or fall, it's summer, it gets up into the hundreds, and then all of a sudden you get air quality index over 300. There are a whole series of OSHA safety calculations that we have to think about daily, especially when we've got massive, fire and particulate matter in the air. Then, of course, you get into the freezing, icy canals, and what are you wearing to just regular PPE equipment every day.
It's hard work, and those who do it should be recognized.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. Yep. And safety department is just one small, that is a kudos to senior supervisors, staff, just making sure that their own person is taken care of. Because they're out in a lot of really crazy elements, not like here,
And a lot of the locations are very remote.
I'll just sort of add a comment. When Karen and I gave one of our NID roadshow presentations, we added a slide that showed, it was one of the slides that we had showing a couple of our folks inside the canals essentially hit high in ice and snow and breaking up the ice.
Yep.
And as we were moving through that section of the presentation, I showed the slide, and it was just an audible gasp. They went,
Yeah.
oh my God, you know, how many people do you have doing that? I mean, and it was really impactful to the. And, my comment was, well, when things get like this, it's kind of all hands on deck. I mean, I don't know how many, it's like 5 or 30, I don't really know. But this is what we do to keep the water flowing. And I want y'all to appreciate it and said, next time you see somebody, an NID worker, thank them for what they do.
We're bound by all
Yeah.
the regulatory safety standards as every other department and activity of this organization. So there's a lot there, and there's a lot that we're exposed to every day.
Having a picture was worth 1,000 words.
When it hits 105, we should replay it.
Yeah, right.
You remember when there was ice?
Yeah.
I know, right? And then they were out there with chainsaws, you know, and the oaks were falling over, and they were hip high, deep, and
Yeah.
chainsaws up in the air, and holy cow, it was crazy.
Yeah, we do a lot of monitoring
Chain.
of fatigue because of the equipment that they operate on a daily
Right.
basis.
But I don't think, you know, in the case, we really got a sense that the public had no idea.
They have no idea.
And
All
they
right.
were just in awe
Yeah.
of our
Well,
folks,
and
of our
the point
team.
is, in this high-tech age, everything's high-tech, except we still have to go chop ice and trees.
Right, exactly.
Sure.
That's right.
And dig dirt, you know,
Yeah,
by hand.
farmers have the same problem. Food shows up at the grocery store.
Yep.
How'd you get there? Water's at the tap.
Yeah.
How'd you get there?
That's right.
Yep, it's just one element of the whole puzzle. So, any other questions?
Did we already have a motion?
No,
Just getting input.
Got direction to,
Should've just brought it to us.
Do we have any public comment on this topic?
We only have Michael on.
Okay, we see none, so we will go for it.
yeah, thanks for the comments. We'll bring this back in a couple weeks, next board meeting with some of your suggestions and, go from there.
And this will come under consent. With
Correct.
reflecting.
If there's still questions, you can always pull it.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Minister's report.
All right, I just have a couple of real quick items. I wanted to acknowledge Miss Sandra. We are in the middle of budgeting right now, and she has identified and we began to use a new budgeting software. Our budget before was a series of Excel spreadsheets that were all linked together. It was a nightmare. So, you know, one change made by the board, we'd have to trickle it through and, you know, get formulas busted and inconsistencies. So we're really excited. Sandra tested out several different budgeting softwares, and we have made a selection of one. It'll also help us with all the analytics, presenting better data analysis, but will also help us facilitate any changes as we go through it. And it is able to make a budget book for us. So good job to Sandra for herding that effort. And then we've been doing great on the audit so far, so expect to see the audit coming before the board. We're all wrapped up. We're doing the finishing touches. I think Sandra just finished off the cover of the audit, and the team did outstanding. Our audits are kind of becoming more routine, and it's just amazing. Yeah, it's really good.
Hallelujah.
General journal entries.
Yeah, so we're not doing 100 journal entries after the end of fiscal year close, and the accounting team deserves a lot of kudos for the progress they've made.
You want 5 or something?
Oh, probably, normally it's usually below 12. You have some things that are always reconciled under the end of the year.
Some I would imagine are just like leftovers.
Yeah, a lot of them that are reconciled over at the end of the year are things that you can't do till the end of the year, which are normal. What's not really normal, it's kind of the 70 to 100, so,
Yeah,
yeah, great progress.
wonderful.
Well done.
Wow, Sandra and her team deserve all of the kudos.
Well, I look
That's
forward
a
to
big
seeing it.
improvement.
Yeah. And then we were gonna do a super exciting water supply update, because we haven't done one in a while.
Yay.
We're full, shipped out.
All right, good morning again. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so we thought we'd throw some graphs up on the wall and give you an update. All right.
Try again.
There they were.
Are we gonna fight over this? No, okay, Bowman Lake Precipitation Reporting Station, you can see the red line is where we're at this year. We're almost at the end of the water season. We're at 94.34 inches of precip, which is awesome, 137% of average. Looking super good there. NID snow survey, you guys have already seen this. It's the May 1st results. I threw this slide in here, though. This next one here is the California snow water content that the state puts on. And the important line to focus on is the blue line. So the upper half of this graph shows you the northern snow water content. Obviously, the middle is the central, and then south is at the bottom. But the blue line shows that the northern end of the state wasn't quite as robust as the central, and then the south just got hammered. I mean, they broke the records there. So, but it also shows you that that line is now tailing off. We're on the very end of the runoff season, and we're actually experiencing that in our own reservoirs. And you can see that here in this slide. The red line is where we're at this year. It's kind of been flatlining because we're still managing the spill gates at Jackson Meadows and Bowman, where Hydro and our water resources team is coordinating together to get those closed, and we're actively doing that now, so we're topping off. I don't expect we'll reach the peak that that purple line did, only because we're still managing those spills, and we've already started diverting from our lower elevation reservoirs, and there's no more runoff coming into those. So we're still filling the top end of our system, but the bottom end is already starting to draw, if that makes sense, because it's irrigation season. So 259,823 acre feet, that is 109% of our 9-year average, so really good shape. We should have a very good carryover this year. Across the state, it's much the same story. It's kind of amazing to see the difference that, you know, many of the pundits were saying it was years before we got out of this drought.
Yeah.
Well, we did it in a hurry, but it was a very unusual year, so.
Rollins was scheduled to fill in 1 year, and it filled in 4 days.
Yeah.
So Trinity never filled up.
It did not. We'll get to that slide next. So here's Lake Shasta, really great shape, managing for excess runoff. Obviously, you can see this one is tailing off too. So most of the larger reservoirs are now managing for the limited runoff and switching into summertime modes. But the takeaway is, wow, it's way above average, pretty close to spill there. Trinity didn't make it, and it is starting to tail off as well. So not really sure why. We assumed it was the snowpack, but I imagine it's still on the upward swing. I'm not sure how much more they'll get, but yeah, it didn't make it. Lake Oroville made it, filling. Not a problem there. Folsom Lake, kind of the same situation, managing for spill there as well. It's in great shape. And then our neighbors, they're doing the same, purposely spilling so that it doesn't go over the natural spill, so generating power where they can. And that speaks a little bit, and Keen's not here, but basically there's so much water in the system, everybody's trying to make power. The electrical market, there's not much profit in it right now, so hopefully that changes as the temperatures heat up this weekend and demand picks back up.
Can't bring up.
I don't want to put them on the spot. Okay, and then the California Drought Monitor, kind of the same story. Most of the state has changed and come out of drought, and we're in really good shape.
There's a lot of surface water available, but the groundwater has not
In the
recovered.
valley.
A number of places, yeah.
I think some of the groundwater studies we did in the NASB, the GSA group down there, showed that the groundwater table actually responds fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Obviously not in a matter of months, but within a year, it usually rebounds pretty good after a heavy rainfall season. But I don't have that specific data in my back pocket, Rich, so hard for me to say.
Yeah, no, and so where our farm is in Orleans has 3 aquifers under it. And the upper one responds very quickly.
Mm.
The lower one, they put 12 wells in there, pumping 2,000 gallons a minute. Everybody thought, great, we hit it. It takes years to replenish that one, so that's getting decimated. And then the Tuscan underneath is 10,000 year.
Mm.
And people are pulling from that. So the upper ones, yeah, they'll replenish quickly, but it never came back up to pre-2013 levels, not yet.
Some of that has to do with a lot to do with geology.
Yeah.
All the geology. And
Clay
your
stratums.
state chart didn't show the acre feet of Tulare.
Yeah, good call.
What kind of effect
New
does that
Old
have
Lake?
on how much of that's gonna soak in?
It's certainly percolating, but there's also subsidence where you're not gonna gain that back, but there's a whole lot that goes into it. We're fortunate, we're a surface water agency, we don't have to be too focused on that, up here anyway.
Yep.
US seasonal drought outlook, the state is basically out of drought with the exception of a couple very small slivers in southern half of the state. Seasonal temperature outlook, this is for July, August, and September, because up till now, it's been flat amazing, the weather's been great. But it does look like it's about to change, and, they're calling for a 40 to 50% of above average temperature outlook for July, August, and September. So it's gonna be warm. And then precip is, basically equal chances of wet versus dry, but, you know, in the summer months, it doesn't rain, so it's not gonna rain. It's kind of easy to make that forecast around here, I think. And then last but not least is our treated water use comparison. I changed the graph a little bit because we're out of drought, and we were comparing it to the target that Governor Newsom had set. I dropped all of that and just started working with the law of averages here. So what you can see is in May of 2023, our treated water usage was 9.5% less than the May average over the last 11 years. So that was pretty good, and I attribute that to the very cool weather we had, so makes sense. Year to date, we are 4% less than the 11-year average. So yeah, usage is still down, which is great. Again, it's been cool. This probably will change next month. So that's all I have.
Water tender usage is way down too?
Yes, across the board. Things started out wet this year, and we manage the system in real time as best we can, so we haven't used as much water this year so far.
Yeah, I ran into one of them, the guy said he was just getting his meter last week. And so it's starting. Do we have an estimate of the carryover on October 15th?
I don't have it immediately. I can get that to you guys, though, for sure. It's gonna be high, yeah. The other thing we have experienced kind of in the Placer County side of things is that the algae bloom has really taken off in those lower elevation canals. We're managing it the best we can. The chemical shots aren't always working, so we're manually cleaning where we have to. We're hopeful we're kind of over that peak, but anyway, still managing it. In case you hear from any of your constituents, we are struggling with a lot of algae canals right now, so kind of weird.
You can struggle with it in my ponds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everywhere.
All right, thank you.
We have one too, and, well, it's not algae, but actually scrape it off and use it for compost.
The stuff that grows on the top?
Yeah.
That's great compost.
Great compost, and the initial studies from Antonio is that crops are doing better.
It breaks down almost like peat moss.
It does.
It's pretty cool. I use it too. My wife doesn't like it on top of the pond.
No.
She likes it in the garden.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have director's reports. Ricky, would you like to start?
Okay. One really just quick thing, I attended the LAFCO, which is the Local Agency Formation Commission meeting, last week. And, we were able to, the commission approved NID annexation on those island parcels, which was good. And, we spent a great deal of time looking over the rough and ready, potential closure of the fire station. And everybody, it turns out, stepped up, the county, 3 fire districts, literally everybody stepped up to avoid the closure. And starting July 1st, all of it's going to be consolidated with Penn Valley and with Nevada County Consolidated. And so the good news is that little fire station will stay open. And
24/7?
Yeah, 24/7, yeah, 24/7, and will be staffed, and will be there all year. So they avoided the complete shutdown, which was very, very important, obviously, for the citizens of Rough and Ready. And I think that the county's coming through with some funds, and they will continue to negotiate and get tax sharing agreements and all the details, but they will be staying open, which is a wonderful thing. So that was, that was my report.
That was a lot of hard work for
Yes.
a lot of people to get to that point.
It was.
And the chiefs really, and the county stepping up, but
Mhm.
where the chiefs really said, okay, this is better for the community,
Mhm.
let's do it.
Yeah, they
And-
set aside their, what has in the past been somewhat of a, I don't wanna give up my territory, I don't wanna give up my territory, you know, and they were able to decide that it's in the best interest of the community for them to leave that concern aside and work together, and they did it.
Yeah.
And, or are doing it. It's not done, but,
No, they'll get it done.
but I think they
Yeah.
will get it done.
And the people, and the firefighters from Rough and Ready will be rehired,
Right.
so they,
By consolidate,
By
everybody will be,
consolidated.
nobody lost their jobs in this,
Yeah.
which is remarkable as well. And they got to keep their brand new equipment, the fire trucks that everybody paid for, that the citizens there paid for through their taxes.
it's a win-win.
For-
And you gotta realize, consolidated is a little bit different from Penn Valley, because Penn Valley has a tax. And so in Penn Valley, you have free ambulance, free paramedics or EMTs, service, whereas in Grass Valley, you have to pay for it. So they have a lot of things to work out, but they're working it out,
Mhm.
and job well done.
Yep,
Nice.
yeah, they did great. So I spent a lot of time with LAFCO, both at the meeting and then behind the scenes and in meetings, trying to facilitate on LAFCO's end. And then the heavy lift was done by the county and the fire chiefs, so
Yeah.
it's good.
It's-
Yeah, so that's my report.
I think what, well, Ricky knows this very well, it probably is a portent of what's gonna happen in the future.
Right, there'll be other fire districts that will not be able to support themselves.
There'll be more
And
consolidation.
more consolidation. I know you guys got a good tax pass down there, didn't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
$235 a parcel.
Whoa.
Very good. But
They're high.
there are some districts that, and LAFCO's doing a survey now on them,
Mhm.
that are not financially stable. We'll find
Probably
out.
like Higgins and some others. Anyway, that's it. We don't need to chat anymore about it.
Yeah.
Do you have an update, Bruce?
Went to Penn Valley Community Center meeting, and boy, the county came out on that one too. Allison Lima was there, Kimberly Parker, Gordon Shurek, planning director, or no, building director, and Tricia Tillotson there, and they're excited about helping build that community center down there. NID was mentioned, because we're gonna be hooking up the water, and counties, I think, has money to help do the planning and a whole bunch of stuff. But it was also there, just general comment that conversations afterwards, how much they really want to work with NID on certain projects. So that's good. Also, this was the California districts. I'm not sure how to present this, but it's the scorching effect of heat islands, and the amazing cooling power of trees is being explored
I think we all sort
in
of
the
know that.
inland empire to bring relief. Give me a break. Took them 200 years to get to this. I mean, for farmers who plant tens of thousands, I've planted 10,000 trees myself, we know the cooling relief. All we need now is water to make it go. And that should have been the next comment. We will still make sure they have water.
Imperial Valley, my cousin planted trees on all the corners of the the sections. Just
Yeah.
for that for
Yeah.
100 years ago.
Yeah. And Ray Copeland,
Yeah, right.
you know, Mr. Mandarin. That was,
I thought you were Mr. Man.
Ray Copeland is one of Chris's relatives. After World War II, he came to work on the Beer Wagon Farm. And then he became the,
Became the guru in the state.
and he was the advisor to the King of Morocco on mandarins, and this guy was a mover.
Okay, moving along.
I know, moving along.
Do we have any
We'll
NID
move
business?
along.
Thought we were just moving across the continent.
Okay.
I'm gonna break protocol and just ask a question. So I saw that we had updated slides from the session a couple weeks ago. Is that on the website, you can point people to?
It is,
Can you
yes.
just email me the link?
Uh-huh.
Thank you. I have the slides, but I won't share the link.
We did share it also with the stakeholder group that did include Deb.
Okay, oh, then I'm good.
Okay.
I told her I would get her a link. Okay, no, I'll keep it short. Stone fruit season, saying right now, go get them. So, get out and buy your Nevada and Placer County fruits. And then, something that was actually put out on our social, which I thought was good. It could be crazy at the boat launches this weekend. Patience, go early.
Yeah. Be careful.
Can you repeat what season it is again?
Stone fruit.
Stone fruit season.
Stone fruit.
Stone fruit.
Like the peaches are on fire.
Blowots, apricots.
Yeah, all of them.
Yes.
The only thing I have is a Farm Bureau picnic, the Nevada County Farm Bureau picnic is gonna be July 8th,
Oh,
1 to 5 p.m.
At Chris's.
At your house.
My house, we're gonna barbecue the whole hog.
And
I
they-
registered.
And they have a lot of trees there for,
We have my shade trees. No cost, just bring a side dish or a dessert.
Nice.
Show up.
Can't we have pie from the happy hour?
Yes, you can, just order it.
I was thinking they would go there.
no, it's on Saturday, right? They're open.
They're open. That's all.
Okay, I am wondering about Mulch Madness and what a great event that is. But it seems to me that that's kind of Nevada-centric, and I wondered about the idea of having a Mulch Madness for Placer County, potentially at the Placer County Yard.
Have we ever done one down there?
Yeah, I think we have. We run into a little bit of competition because PCWA puts one on, and then Placer County RCD puts one on, and we tried it once, didn't get a lot of traction, but I don't know that we marketed it all that well either, so something we can,
We can try again.
yeah.
Okay.
Can we do one with ECWA?
Yeah, how about that?
And we can look into that too.
Yeah, I wonder where they do theirs at.
Does that make it easier?
You can do it in the front part of my room.
There you go.
I'll have everyone.
Yeah.
Just do the olive trees while you're at it.
And then I wondered if we could have an update on our conservation program, how things are going. Has there been much interest in the tanks or any of the turf replacements? And the timing may not be right, but, you know, how are we promoting it? What's happening with that? I thought that was
Yeah, we'll tee up a overview of how it's going.
perfect.
Yeah.
And then my last, question is, might we consider doing a press release that summarizes, what we're learning about climate change and, you know, kind of the plan for water in some of the more technical areas, so that before we get to, actually having scenarios that people know the analytical framework that we are using to get where we're going to go. Because I
You're
just
talking
think,
about a summary that's more like less technical, but summarizes the technical into layperson language?
yeah, and some of the things that we see about climate change and what does that mean for our area?
That's a great idea.
Maybe we can tee up some type of article.
I thought that would.
Yeah,
be
let me
really
think about what that would look like, but I think we could put something together.
helpful. Yeah, great, thank you.
Good idea. Love press releases. Yeah.
That bar graph that we did with yesterday, those sorts of summaries that are like visual are great, because they play well on social media.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, with that, I think we get a set of.
Good job, man.
Okay, so do I need to say anything else? Any public comment on anything else?
Hit the gavel.
Okay, we're ending. Have a nice day.
That was the